And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, actually, that's not true. Yeah, no, it is true. Another red day. Yesterday felt actually like a great day because we ended it super, super nicely with some really nice dip buy trades. But I forgot about that TOPS trade that I recapped in yesterday's video, that morning dip buy. That was one of our most brutal losses of this small account challenge. And today was a really an honest mistake, and I can't really be too upset. I'm not upset with the markets or some sort of craziness. I'm a little upset with the first trade because I broke a key rule on my first trade. And I always say, don't average into losers because it throws off your mindset and then it's a very slippery slope. If you're investing, you're averaging down, or you're growing a long-term position into some company over many years, that's way different. That's a whole different, investing, trading strategy, and averaging down could be one of the best things you could do. But day trading, it's very slippery because a lot of these positions we're only in and out. We're in and out in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. My longest trades are like 7 minutes. So if you're averaging down, it means that the first entry wasn't right and your trading thesis is wrong, and now you're going to see it in the charts in a little bit. And I mean, I talk about exactly step by step what I'm thinking. And if you were in the stream, you saw this already. But basically, we had a nice little bump in the price, and I could have got out there. I could have closed out for a small scratch. I mean, 3% actually I would have made, which in my eyes would have been a loss because I was looking for a bigger move. So I would have been, that trade was wrong. It was a loser, it was a scratch. And so I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it'll, pull back, and then I'll just buy a little bit more. And then, it was kept on pulling back, and then I went past my max stop loss. Then I closed that trade, and then I had a little bit of FOMO, and then I think that messed up my next trade, even though the entry still kind of fit my playbook. But we're going to review it all in the charts, so it's going to be a little bit more clear when the charts are pulled up for you guys. I think I needed to vent a little bit, so thanks for being here for that. Today as well, I want to cover something pretty important that that I feel like has been happening a lot more lately in the small cap world, and these are the secondary offerings. I talked about them for just a little bit yesterday, but these offerings are just happening left and right, and they are destroying these small caps. These overnight plays have been very tough. Holding overnight lately has been not a very good idea. And so I want to talk about what these secondary offerings do to these stocks. And I think I threw up like 4 or 5 stocks on the chart that just had secondary offerings, just like TOPS, and then just crushing the stock prices. These typically happen pre-market or after hours, typically pre-market, and we've been seeing sometimes them happening around 10 or 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So it's been a big theme. I want to go to the charts already because there's a good big pile of stuff to talk about, and why not go already to it. So let's head over there now. And before we go, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoy this content. And if you're totally new here, consider subscribing if you want to learn more about trading. I would love to see you again in the upcoming recap video, stream, or in the chat room. Leave questions below in the comments. Let's get into the charts now. Well, here we go. It looks like today's going to be a little bit of a red day recap. It's 11:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and here's IFRX, which we were watching basically the whole time on the stream, and it's been just kind of selling off here. I was a little nervous when we didn't break higher here at the VWAP, but let's quickly review this because this was the lead gapper along with CEMI. So we're going to review both of them for sure. But IFRX, I was really fixated on this one. 130% gap up in the morning. Let me quickly scroll back here. Really nice move, actually. Boom, there you can see it, 140% move. And then it pulled back. And this pullback was just super, super aggressive. I mean, 37% pullback, trading under VWAP. I always say, any stock under 25% and then, stuck under VWAP isn't really the gap and go strategy that I'm wanting to trade. So I was a little bit more cautious with the IFRX, but I made a few mistakes. Also, this is a German biotech and with the first patient positive data trying to treat the coronavirus. So definitely good news there. I would have really expected just a little bit more out of it, but then, then again, maybe it's just a little bit too sold off. And so enrolling patient in trial so they have a few things going on here. Let's see, antibodies. Okay, let's go back to the charts. And So we had a nice little bounce here off 5.7. This bounce was looking pretty good, 20% move, and then out of the gates, this thing rips up. But this first pullback, I didn't really trust it, and then we saw here just constant selling pressure. I actually had a pretty good entry here, around 31. And, you know, this thing moved up 3%. And at this point, this is where I made the giant mistake. At this point, let me zoom in a little bit more on the 5 minute as well. So here I was like, you know what? What I could do is I could close this position, you know, take my 2-3% profit, which in my eyes was kind of a loss because that's not what I wanted. I wanted a big rip to the upside, and that, you know, that was kind of the trade. So it would have been a scratch, just kind of like, you know, a trade that went wrong. I would have been profitable, but still my thesis was wrong. And then I was like, you know what, this was a small position size. I didn't get a full entry, so I would probably enter with 20 more shares. So maybe I'll just buy a pullback. And that thought alone is the reason today I think was a red day. That one thought, and let me expand on that, because if I didn't have that thought and I was true to my word that I don't average down into losers, yada yada, I would have been like, okay, I don't really think this is going to break higher because we have a lot of sellers here, so I'm just going to close this trade. Boom, took $30 off the table, and then been like, you know what, maybe it's going to have another rip to the upside, but that's going to be a second trade. Then I would have not bought here. There's no way. I already didn't buy the second entry here because I was like, this is looking pretty weak. This looks like a dead cat bounce. Then I would have probably bought my whole position either here or here on my second trade. I would have held probably through all of this. I might have sold here for another 3 or 4% profit. Most likely I would have held above here. And when there was so many sellers here and this didn't break out, knowing me, I probably would have got out somewhere here. And if I didn't get out here, I probably would have got out on this dead cat bounce here. So I think today I could have easily ended with, you know, $50 profit if I traded it like I normally trade it. I really don't know why I was a little bit on the wrong side of IFRX. I think I just had higher expectations for it. But I should have been a little bit more conscious of the fact that the market is just overall very red. There was no clear lead gapper. I don't know. I'm just trying to like run it through my head. The second trade here, I'm trying to think like, was this maybe too much of like a little bit of FOMO entry? I like this one in a way. So I said, you know, is 91, there was a lot of sellers there. There's like 1,000 orders right here, or shares, and I think that's times 10, so it was like 10,000 actually right here in this area. I might be mistaken, but it was 1,000 exactly showing here. And I was like, if that gets shipped away, I'm going to enter again because that looks like it could be a breakout. And that's what I did. I entered here, and we had a nice little continuation, but then we had a quick pullback, and I was like, oh man, like everything is looking pretty like, was that a FOMO entry? I always say that I don't like entering a trade right after I had a losing trade or even a winning trade, because I feel like instantly I'm getting into like either a revenge or a FOMO, or it's more of an emotional based trade. Really looking back at it and thinking about it, like the entry wasn't that bad, and I don't know if that really bothers me, but I think if this was a green trade, I would have probably been a little bit more patient and maybe got this pullback as an entry, and then at least I would have been up 5-6% at one point. And actually, if I held through it, I would have been up like 8%. And then I got shaken out here. You know, I had a pretty bad spot. You know, looking back at IFRX, it's really tough. One thing I could have done that actually would have been good if I broke my rules is bought back here and had a full 2 trade allocations on IFRX right here at 71. I was really thinking about doing that, but it would have been breaking my rules like twice at this point, and I don't know, that really started bothering me. But basically, we had a pullback here at 571, and I was like, this could be a phenomenal entry. I was really excited about that idea, but I was like, no, I'm breaking all my rules right now. I'm already down, you know, past my max stop loss. If we have another pullback there and we're down another 5%, this is going to be a huge loser. I'm not going to do that. I closed my trade, and it sucks because that actually would have been a really good trade. And then 2 or 3 minutes later, I get back into this trade. That was really annoying. So I'm a little disappointed in myself with that, but yeah, I don't know. Buying and reallocating in this area and then popping up. Today was I was not on my A game with trading today. I really felt it. I was like, these are really amateur hour kind of mistakes I was making. So I don't know. It's probably a good thing I only had 2 trades available today, because yesterday I traded 4 times. So I used one of my trades from today, yesterday. So probably a good thing. You know, who knows what I would have done if I had more trades. Maybe I would have done a really ridiculous decision. Maybe I would have had super FOMO and enter here and then all of a sudden be down, 4% in a minute. I don't know. It's so hard to say what you would have done, but I'm pretty happy that I'm kind of done with trading for today, even though I really felt like we had some good possibilities. CMI, similar situation, big run up, but just a ferocious pullback. So this one ran up 65% and then a big pullback here, about 27% from the highs under VWAP. Shares outstanding, or the float was 14 million, while IFRX, the float was 17 million. They had, what was the news on this one? Testing for the coronavirus. I think point of, what was that? Not super important anymore, but basically I think they had some coronavirus that could be used, basically some testing that could be used on the spot. That doesn't make sense. I don't remember right now, but anywho, the important part was the fact that this one, there's a catalyst behind it. It's a low float. Okay, it's north of 10 million, but it's kind of in the price range, or it's definitely in the price range, and the float's kind of in the range as well. Everything was looking pretty good with this one. The dollar volume was a little bit light, but not too much. And then out of the gates, if I was just focused on CEMI, I probably would have had a profitable day. But this one rips at 10%. I think I would have missed this entry, although I don't know. If I got really aggressive, a pullback here to like 6.4, I might have done that entry. Regardless, runs up 12%. Let's say I missed this one. This one was forming a nice bull flag here, and then we bounced off out of it. I might have gotten shaken out here, but the percentage move isn't that bad. So if I bought this pullback, at one point I would have been down 2-3% tops. I probably would have held through that. And then, this thing rips from there. So I don't know. We could have easily wrapped up 10% with CEMI. So I could have been such a good move. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed the way I traded today. I gotta admit, but at the same time, this is trading. It's every day you got to step up to the plate. And today I was a little bit shaky and I kind of dropped the ball a little bit. What I do want to talk about is just really quickly here is just the crazy amount of offerings we had today. It was a little bit insane. So where did it start? Honestly, I think it started with BKYI a few days ago. BKYI, or it didn't really start with anything specifically, but BKYI I think was one of the ones that just, why is it not pulling up? BKYI, did I type that in wrong? I don't know. This is why I don't trade after 11 o'clock, because my brain's exhausted. I've already been up since way too long. Okay, so here we go. So this is on the 27th, and here we see that if we just scroll down on the 25th, and then let me see here, shares, exercise price. Yeah, so here there was warrants, 100,000 shares of common stock, and an exercise price of $1.5 per share. So let's go back to here, and that news basically ripped this one down. Let's see. So here's about 1.5. We crashed under it about 24%, and then ran back up. So that somewhere in this area, the warrants were exercised. It's not that specific with BKYI, but for some reason, this one was just like at the top of my mind. But let's go to the ones that are very clear. So PHIO. This is where this is one of the lead gappers from a few days ago, actually yesterday, and this one just got absolutely destroyed. The news came out. And then moments later, this thing just absolutely falls off a cliff. It was at 2.5 and runs down 27%. So this one had news of an offering at $2.20, and yesterday was the 31st, so somewhere here. Yeah, 2.34 a share. So we ran all the way down to 1.83. So yeah, that was a 27% dip. It was already acting really weird pre-market, and this is why I typically stay away from the ones selling off so much pre-market. Kind of consolidates here under big time support and resistance multi-month, and then just falls off a cliff, and it's been falling off a cliff ever since. So you really want to be careful with that. SGBX, the big runner from yesterday, also had offering, and this one just absolutely slayed it the day before. Had a huge run up here, 271% in the afternoon, But right around here, and I remember I even watched this one live today. I was kind of just checking out some of the past stocks, and it was right here. This one didn't get crushed too much, surprisingly. Right around 8.15 or something like that. You can see this. Common stock at 425, offers 440,000 shares. So this one was right here at the time, and then just boom, sells all the way down, sells all the way off right away. So this was a 17% dip. For some reason, SGPX really recovered well, and I got to give it to it. Like, I'm really surprised that it recovered so much afterwards, and it's even running up now, 88%. So really good recovery on this one, and who knows, it could even break yesterday's high. The way it's performing right now, I wouldn't even really be surprised. I'm not expecting it, but really tricky to trade these moves. VVUS is another one I want to talk about. This one also had a pre-market offering, and it just gets totally destroyed. We're hovering around this 2.5 area, which is long, multi-month support and resistance right here at 2.5. And it looks like it's definitely going to hold. Pre-market, this area has huge bounce potential. But then here you can see in the morning, this news comes out, and so 7.22 million shares, common stock offering at $1.6 a share. So that's pretty aggressive news compared to the other ones. And that's a lot of shares. And this one right here, when the news comes out, let's see, the news comes out at 3:02. That's about 15 minutes before the market opens, 13 minutes before the market opens. So yeah, right here, basically here, news comes out, and then just boom, this thing falls 40%. And we said 1.6, right? So this thing goes down to 1.6, has a nice little bounce, but basically just keeps on selling off the rest of the day. Maybe it's going to have a little rip, who knows? Because remember TOPS, this is the one we got stuck in. This is the pre-market one I talked about yesterday in the recap video that was basically ended up being one of my worst percentage losers. This one also comes out with news that they are offering stocks at, they're doing an offering. This was a really bad one. Where was this offering? 5 million of common stock. Let's just look at it very quickly. So they came out with an offering. This one rips all the way down here, 50%, and then goes down even further. And this offering was at 0.2. I remember that. So it was somewhere in 0.2. Let's see if we can find it very quickly here. 40 million shares offering at 0.2 per share for gross profit. So this is how they raise capital. That's why stocks do this, so they can raise capital and fund their businesses. And that's why these stock charts of especially biotechs, because they blow through money so quickly, are just so aggressive. And that's, all of a sudden you have the price that at one point was like 2.7 trillion or whatever that number is, even though the price was never there, because this is a NASDAQ stock, and to be listed on the NASDAQ, you have to have a price over $1. So what happens is these guys dilute the market. They're constantly dumping shares into the market, and then, which drives the price down under $1. And then eventually this company's like, well, we're going to get delisted. NASDAQ said we're going to get delisted if we don't raise our price over $1. So what do? They do a reverse split. They basically delete the shares that are outstanding. So let's say a 1 to 10 reverse split like here, which drives the price up, but this is actually a 1 to 20. So let's say you have 10 shares at $1. You now have one share at $10. That's basically a reverse split, and then right away you're like, oh. So nothing happens, but now the price is at $10, and boom, then they have another offering, and then the price goes back to $1, and then to 10 cents, and then boom, it happens over and over and over again. It's a very vicious cycle. And then you get these really aggressive chart patterns. So that's why a lot of these stocks we only trade for 1 day, and then they're gone. Sometimes you get some nicer moves, like APRN was a really nice move. It's not your classic biotech. That's like an online food delivery company. It's a little bit different setup. So you don't have usually the worst charts patterns because they don't bleed as much cash. But they, this one also, is this a reverse split? Yeah, 1 to 15 reverse split, very shady. And then I think they came out with an offering as well. Didn't they come out with an offering? This was on the 20th. It would be a little further down here. Not totally sure. I don't really remember if these guys came out with an offering. But anyway, wait, here we go. Halted due to volatility. Okay, no. So anyway, just, keep that in mind. You got to be really careful with these things. And I just kind of wanted to review it a little bit more in this video because it's so devastating on the price of these stocks. And you know, TOPS, let's quickly go back to this one. This one had a kind of an interesting bounce after that offering. So we bounced off the 0.2, and this is the only one that actually ran up so much, and then ran up 72% in one quick move. We got out of that before that, and then, you know, it's kind of been selling off ever since. We had one more spike here, but just be super careful. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be trading TOPS anymore. And the only reason we were trading it is because it had, you know, two big green days, and I thought there was a good chance that we might try to break this resistance. So that could have been a great trading strategy, but you know, it was sub dollar, and then I was trading it pre-market. I was looking for a limit order pullback on the third green day. So all these things are stuff that I always say, like, I don't want to be doing. And I think TOPS was, if anything, a good reminder of why I have these rules in place. And I think at least I can share it with you guys. Like, sometimes these kind of whack accidents happen, and that's why you set up rules. So, you know, if you break your rules, then you're really there's only a matter of time till you relearn the lesson. And yeah, I think that's what happened with TOPS. With IFRX today, I don't know. I think I broke IFRX. I definitely broke the rule of don't average down into losers. I definitely broke that rule today on this one. So I'm a little ashamed of myself for that. Like I said in the beginning, I think we could have easily ended today profitable with IFRX just by getting out here on this first little pullback. Eventually my trades are going to show on this chart. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting day. Kind of a tricky day to trade because we didn't have a lot of follow through today, which made today definitely more of a difficult day. So today was one of those classic days where you got to cut your losses. You got to know what your trade thesis is, and you got to stick to it. To the T. In the past, you know, these last few days was a little bit confusing because we would have these moves where the stock would consolidate for a while and then randomly would rip maybe 100 or 200%. And I think that kind of put us, at least it put me in a little bit of a mindset that, oh, maybe this is going to be the one where we have a big rip to the upside. And which made me honestly a little bit more lax on the way I traded this one, because I was expecting a big move to the upside because we've been getting big moves to the upside. So sometimes when you have those big green days, or you know, you do really well, sometimes you get a little bit more loosey-goosey with your rule set, and then, you know, sometimes you make a mistake. So today was kind of nice. It was a good reminder of why we have rules, and luckily I was able to kind of share that experience with you guys. So yeah, guys, that's everything for this video. I'll see you first thing tomorrow to trade the market open. Again, it's already Thursday. Week is flying by. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy this content. If you're totally new here, consider subscribing. I'd love to see you again. And if you have any questions, leave them below. Till next time, guys, like always, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.